Good, greetings. SAR speaks to you to talk for a while about what was the draw for the 2022 Football World Cup in Qatar. Last week all the groups were defined, except for 3 places that remain to be defined. We are also going to talk about those 3 places still pending with matches to play. Let's know what are the 32 teams that will fight for the 2022 World Championship. Held last Friday, back in Doha. The draw with several celebrities, several well-known footballers, many journalists around and, well, we are going to review what that evening left there in Qatar, and what are the 8 groups, which countries they represent. The 2022 World Cup, that as we already know, will start on November 21st, and on December 18th the winner of the most important team game in the world will be known. It is a strange date to play this competition since with respect to the usual, since always this world tournament is played in the summer, in June, July, or August. But this time due to the weather in the Middle East, it has been decided to run it for the winter in those latitudes, and so good to be able to do it. There in that land, we arrived with Group A, which is headed by the host of this tournament, Qatar. It will be next to Ecuador, Senegal and Holland, and the Netherlands. A group that does not have a candidate to win the World Cup. Within it seems that it is quite balanced. Beyond the Netherlands, you always have that tradition, to advance in these contests, but they have never managed to be crowned world champion, so Qatar is a seed for being the one that hosts this competition. In Group B, they were led by England. Together with Iran, the United States and the winner of the last European quota. Let's see what happens with that quota. It is to play the final of that third ticket in the playoffs that were made of Europe, where Italy was eliminated, for example. It is already qualified for the final of that key Wales, and is waiting for Ukraine and Scotland, whose duel has not yet been able to take place due to all the extra sporting situation that Ukraine is experiencing. That duel has been postponed, while Russia, on the other hand, was eliminated from this tournament. Ukraine was postponed that match, so he has to wait there with the British national team, to see if that clash can happen. And the other British too. The Wales train, Gareth Bale's Express, is still waiting to see if they can qualify for the World Cup or not. For Group C, Argentina as leader, Saudi Arabia, Mexico and Poland. For Group D, France, the first classified of the repechage. It remains to be defined that group will be for Costa Rica or New Zealand that stayed with the ticket of the repechage of the CONCACAF, against those who stay for the ticket of the repechage that distributes Oceania. That group is completed by Denmark and Tunis. F seems to be the most interesting. In the first instance with Spain and Germany, 2 world champions, and the only group of the entire contest that has 2 world champions, and Japan. Peru or Australia and United Arab Emirates, Australia. Remember that Australia and the United Arab Emirates are other teams that have to play a match before this playoff to see who will be paired with Peru, which already qualified in 2018. In this way, in the repechage on that occasion dominating New Zealand in the round trip, now it is going to play a single game. Waiting then for Ricardo Gareca's team to see who will be their opponent, in order to seal what could be a second historical classification for the Inca box. Group F, already everyone knows each other, Belgium, Canada, Morocco and Croatia, another of the groups, also with a lot of talent in both Belgium and Croatia. Morocco also has several interesting places in the best leagues in the world. Canada, headed by Alphonso Davies, a figure of Bayern Munich, and who was first in the CONCACAF classification, surprising and surpassing both Mexico and the United States in that group. By G, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And they close Group H. Portugal qualifies through the European repechage. With Cristiano Ronaldo wins Uruguay and South Korea. We will also give a brief review of what may be the most interesting clashes of this first group stage. Not the only ones who are 100% ensured that they are going to face there in Qatar. And we started with the one that told them about Group E, 2 world champions. Spain and Germany. They are the only world champions who are going to clash in this first phase. Winners of South Africa 2010 and Brazil 2014, just the last time they met in this appointment in a World Cup was when Spain defeated 1-0 in the semi-finals of the championship played in Africa, which ended up winning that first star, La Roja, thanks to the header of Carles Puyol. In that instance, they then beat the Netherlands in what was the grand final in extra time with that goal from Andres Iniesta. Argentina and Mexico, although the so-called ETA step, is at a very important moment after having lifted the Copa America last year, and the Aztecs had rather gone down a couple of steps in the CONCACAF, as we said, losing the finals of the Cup, and are not among the top 2 positions, not even in the classification. There are two Spanish-speaking countries that there is a lot of rivalry. Culturally, one very north of America, the other very south, totally opposite, and that there are always quarrels, there are always the funny notes in social networks, in memes, and also it will be interesting that game, more than anything, live it through that, the fans and the networks. Another curious duel that also attracts attention will be the French-Denmark, who already shared the zone in Russia 2018, drew 0-0, that time on the third day of the group stage. Both already had a ticket to the knockout stages, so it was a game of lateral passes practically no, it was not very entertaining, you have to see how it is going to happen at what point will each one reach that duel. It would be the defending champion who conquered Russia 2018, and the revelation of the Euro 2020. Denmark, which reached the semi-finals of this contest in a surprising way. Another match of considerable interest, Serbia, Switzerland, which beyond the sport that can bring, are two teams also with many talented players in some of the best teams in the world or in almost all in the best leagues in Europe. In the last edition they also collided. In that clash a slightly strange situation happened, but it is also uncomfortable. Like big pawns, players from Switzerland, but with roots, Albanians and Kosovars, made the gesture of the Albanian eagle when they scored a goal against the Balkan box for years ago, which was taken as remembering the historical wars of those countries of Serbia, Yugoslavia with the Kosovars, with Albania. The roots of these players is something that is remembered a lot. One of the recent wars that took place between those countries. So you have to see how that match is going to happen right now, and if Shaqiri, or Osaka, or some other player from Switzerland who has roots from those countries is going to be able to do the same thing, the same gesture. In another group, the other match that I told them, was that of Belgium-Croatia, this one for a purely football issue, the eternal promise Belgium, which does not manage to reach a final even of an important tournament against Croatia, which it did, and it was 4 years ago, headed by Luka Modric, reaching the final and lost to France. That time two squads that have a lot of talent. Figures like Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard who although it costs him at Real Madrid to show his best version with the national team, Romelu Lukaku, Tielemans, Thibaut Courtois usually does it in goal. There are really many interesting players in Belgium always, and good on the side of Croatia, Luka Modric, Kovacic, a European champion with Chelsea, and good among many other meetings, that is the most interesting of what is leaving this draw to Qatar 2022. So we say goodbye here and we said luck and success and enjoy a lot. There are still many months left until the World Cup Qatar 2022, but there we will be active. I think everyone on their own side stops to enjoy a new World Cup. See you later.